So I kind of did my spiel on this slide, just telling you who I am. Again, I'm Sheneka. Last name is Brightwell, and I'm here with representing the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, Computer Science Division. Most people know kind of the background of how computer science standards started across the state. The General Assembly got together, decided we need to expand computer science opportunities to all of the students across our state. So a steering committee was organized and just kind of collaborated between the superintendent's office, DPI, the Friday Institute, the North Carolina, School of Science and Mathematics, just to, develop curriculum guides that were aligned to the computer science framework developed by CSforAll. So that's where we are. We have the goals here for the computer science initiative, just to, make sure that students can become creators of the digital economy. We want them to do more than just use it. We want them to create it and take advantage of what it offers them, as part of their future. So we'll do this through just collaborating with internal pieces of the puzzle with DPI, external stakeholders and organizations that we can all just kind of partner and strengthen an initiative to create kindergarten to career ready students. Okay. So we know that there is significant work, or there was significant work to be done. We kind of just, tackled that with creating computer science standards. So there was work to be done on the institutional side to establish, computer science as an academic area. So there is far, far more work to be done in building teacher capacity and expertise in addressing these now new standards to everyone. So as we move through the computer science the implementation phase is centered around piloting and scaling statewide implementation. That is kind of like our goal and our focus right now. How do we do that? So these phases are executed through one, capacity building, through teachers, schools, and districts. And then we want to create data and assessment systems. And I think that's more of what Sam will speak on later with the CS dashboard. And then also addressing, I guess I don't like to say the elephants in the room, but addressing like policy practices necessary that ensure, computer science is operational across the state. Those are the key pieces at the present time. So most are familiar with the computer science standards. If you haven't seen them, they are located on the Computer Science and Technology Education page for the DPI website. I'll post that link in the chat in a moment, just so everyone can go in and take a look at what they are, how they look, which 97 were created. And we based them off of the 2017 CSTA computer science standards. So it has like the 5 concepts and then the sub-concepts within those. So we have computing systems, networks and the internet, data and analysis, algorithms and programming, and then impacts of computing. So those are the 5 concepts. And then within those are sub-concepts. Okay. So this slide just kind of gives us an overview of how they look, what they are, but you'll see another cleaner copy of that on the DPI website. Here, we work with the Friday Institute to create supporting documentation for our standards once we had them adopted. We worked with Sam and his wonderful team just to create documents intended to support our leaders across the state, just when it comes to understanding the standards, but also how to implement the standards and being able to locate data in relation to which districts are actually doing the computer science standards. That's where the data part comes in. Well, this is just an example of the computer science crosswalk. Well, one of them. one of the computer science crosswork documents in relation to K5. It shows us how, you can better break down each individual piece of the computer science standards. That was critical for us because we realized that computer science at K5 doesn't really have much of a footprint. So we have to create that for our teacher leaders to make sure that they are comfortable in the classroom and they know what it takes to be able to educate each child. So just having that as a resource definitely comes in handy for our students. And then here we have just how computer science standards are mapped with different courses or programs that you can use, software that you can use. Code.org, as we heard before, has computer science fundamentals. Here we can look at how you can use that through kindergarten through 5th grade. Where can you apply it? And then as you can see, Scratch on the opposite side of the screen, kindergarten through 8th grade, there are some areas that aren't heavily defined, but then you have other areas that are, so we can tell where more work has to be done, to kind of start checking off the boxes to make sure we are fully equipped in our teacher leaders. I think from here, Sam, if you want to talk more on the computer science landscape map.
Certainly, thanks. Yeah, it came up actually, it was not intended to be connected, but Katie mentioned it when she talked about how data was a big part, how data are a big part of solving this problem and ensuring that we meet the goal that every student has access to computer science, every student has opportunity and encouragement to take computer science, and ideally that every student might someday take computer science. One of the projects we've been working on is to create a landscape map, which is tied to, as Katie sort of alluded to, course enrollments by DPI and district level reporting. So we have the ability to know in middle school and high school, unfortunately only, where there are specific dedicated computer science courses. So what we've done is build a landscape map that sort of highlights where we have successes and where we have opportunities for improvement. I'm going to ask Sheneka to click through a little bit here. You can see the link there. This is a public link now, and I'll share it at the end of sort of this brief demo. But if Sheneka wants to go ahead. So there are basically 3 different components to the dashboard. One is identifying actual student enrollment, number of students enrolled in a computer science course across the state, broken out by LEA or public school units. And so this is specifically where are they actually taking computer science. And you can see if we click through to the next slide, the visual allows you to drill into your LEA. So you can see what your situation is, or you can compare it across the state, or you can look at it regionally. So you can look at it by what we call the Board of Education districts as well. So you can go ahead and click through, Sheneka. And ultimately, one of the things we want to make sure we identify is where is computer science disrepresentative of the population. And so as you drill into the data, you're able to see whether or not the enrollment is in alignment with the general population of a district, or if there are gaps in participation. Now, if you go back one, if you look at that slide, it looks like we're in pretty good enrollment, and we actually are. So our enrollment mirrors, for the most part, our student population. But that's relatively easy to execute when you're only talking about 7% of the population. What we want to make sure we keep our finger on is, as we continue to expand computer science, that this graph basically doesn't get out of whack. It's already out of whack. If you notice in the bottom left there, that females, while they're probably 50% of our population in schools, don't represent 50% of our computer science takers. But you can also see that most of our computer science students take it as an AP course, some virtually through the virtual public school systems, and some do it through Career and College Promise. You can go ahead. We've also tracked it over the last 3 years. We don't have data yet from last year, but we're keeping a heat map of where we're making progress and how we're doing across the state in terms of improvement. You can go ahead to the next one. and make comparisons so we can see that student enrollment is certainly going up quite well in all population groups. And you can see how we've actually done a great job in that top graph of actually shifting the balance, right? So 3 years ago, it was a disproportionate population taking computer science, and we're starting to move that needle. You can go ahead to the next one. Last but not least is drill down to the micro level and see specifically what school opportunities there are out there, what schools offer computer science, and to start focusing on those opportunities based on the type of school, the community in which that school is, and the types of, and the demographics of the students that attend those schools. You can go to the next one. And so we break that out further in the dashboard so that you can see, are there disproportionate opportunities? So one of the things we see here is that if your school is a school that hosts a significant population of Hispanic, you're less likely to have opportunity for computer science. So that's something we have to take a look at and understand better why schools that may have a higher portion of Hispanic students do not have the opportunity to take computer science in their school. And we can also look at sort of free and reduced lunch opportunity. The chart in the bottom right there would seem to indicate that our schools that are more affluent are not surprisingly the ones who are offering computer science more frequently. So the dashboard is intended, and you can go ahead to the next slide, to be able to give us some of that information so that we can fix the problem. But part of the problem is fixed by this conversation today. We know that enrollment in middle school and enrollment in high school is a selective process. It's not a mandatory course in any district across the state that students take computer science. So if we have a problem with students selecting to take computer science in the middle school and the high school, my guess is that problem is best addressed in K-5, which is why this conversation today is critical, because we want to be able to break down those barriers to entry into the computer science pipeline by making sure kids understand and families understand what it means to actually be engaged in computer science. So that's why we think the dashboard, even though it focuses on course enrollment, which is a 6 through 12 story in North Carolina, it does provide us opportunity to address pipeline opportunities in K-5 as well. So that link is public. You should be able to go and play with it. And we'll continue to update the data as they come in from year to year. So thanks.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate your help. Oh, I'm sorry. I appreciate you going over that, Sam. It's truly, amazing to be able to go through and, like Sam said, play around with the map to kind of see where each area is in relation to computer science, because I've looked at some of the areas, even though, as we discussed, most of North Carolina is considered rural, but some of those really, really small areas is interesting to look and see where their footprint is, like if they have even started to create a framework for computer science. And then it makes you think of, what are the reasons why? Is it lack of, resources, whether it's funding or whatever the case may be, what keeps them from being able to take advantage of the opportunities that larger districts such as Charlotte Meck may be able to take advantage of. So thank you, Sam, for that. I personally have enjoyed playing around with the CS landscape map just to kind of see where everyone is across the board. This next slide is just kind of like an opportunity just to let people know what things are coming from our division as far as opportunities in computer science. We have created a podcast in collaboration with Sharon Jones with the Dot Consulting. And she, speaks every, I'll say twice a month to leaders in computer science and just interviews them to talk about their experiences throughout their career, what made them choose computer science, showcase how they have impacted students across the board and just what's next for them. And then we're launching our monthly talks, actually starting the 28th. We'll have just monthly talks to break the ice, to show educators that computer science isn't as intimidating as it may seem, regardless of what you teach. If it's English, social studies, math, you can still take advantage of computer science opportunities in those moments as well. So those monthly tech talks is what we're calling them, will start September 28th. And if you would like for me to send you information on that, just let me know in the chat and I can share with you the registration link for that, so that she can connect you when the time comes. And then there's other things like, of course, Computer Science Week, and then blog postings that will come up as well. Just having different individuals write about computer science. Sometimes it helps when the information comes from someone outside of our division. You know, it helps relate. It helps people to relate to, oh, if so-and-so can do it, then so can I. So we want to take advantage of those opportunities as they come along. So what's next for us? That was a conversation. That's a conversation that we have had quite a few times in the last couple of weeks, just wanting to get more of a substantial framework together for computer science so that it can ultimately stand up across the state and just work along with teachers versus against them when it comes to if and when is something that's mandated. So we wanted to look at these 4 next steps and just say, this is our focus. This is where we want to, get how we get to the end goal of making computer science substantial and sustainable and scalable and well implemented across the state. So these are just our next steps. And, I ask everyone if you can just find out where you fit in and just jump in and get involved, because it literally takes a village for us to make the impact that we want across the state. Each one teach one is still a thing. So that's where we are. How you can reach us. You have Dr. Hemphill Joseph, and her contact information is there, her email, and so is mine. And then let me see if I can.
I put it in the chat earlier.
Oh, thank you. And you put the link for the landscape map?
Both that and the computer science landing page for DPI.
Okay, and there you'll also find, which I did not speak about, internally we created just a glossary of terms for computer science so that anyone who isn't familiar with some of the jargon inside of the standards, you have something to compare it to help further break down the crosswalk and mappings that are associated with the standards. All of that information is on our DPI webpage. So you can find it there. You can reach us through there. You can reach out to me or Dr. Hemphill, and we will definitely guide you and get you the resources that are needed to make this all successful. So that really is it. If anyone has any questions, I know I kind of went really fast there. We only had a short time frame, but if anyone has any questions, please do feel free to put them in the chat. If you want to collaborate or leave your information for someone else in the group to reach out. I know Tati has a group organization that she works alongside that would be a phenomenal resource for a district. Charlotte is always great when it comes to AI. And, Sam is just phenomenal in all things computer science as well. So just, we can connect and chat through here. So if anyone has any questions, I'm open.
Sheneka, I think your newsletter is awesome. And I wonder if you might share how people can sign up for it so that they can get your updates.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy the download so very much. And I have actually passed it along in some capacity to our interns. And one of those interns is actually connected to the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. And I told her to find you. I said, find her. She's one of the leads from our #IMCS Summit. So she's a student there now. But if you email me and you want to, if you want to be added to the listserv for the download, just email me and I will put you in the newsletter. Oh, thank you, Carol. That's sweet. So just send me information. I love new information. I love being the hub to get everybody what they need. And it's going to take us all just doing that. So, oh, thank you, Sam. Just email me and I can add you to the listserv for that. And if you have information, email that to me as well, and I will add it to the download. Anyone else?
Thank you, Sam and Sheneka.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone.
Thank you.
See you, Charlotte. See y'all.
See everyone back in the main room. Thank you.